I take no orders from you. I am an Autobot now.
Welcome back to the Tydirium Hangar. This is Mike and I'm coming at you with another video. This time I want to compare the Fanstoys Phoenix FT10X to the regular standard FT10 Fanstoys Phoenix. Now I'm going to compare these guys individually, then I'm going to compare them to other options that are out there, and a couple of cool things. All this coming up. Alright, so here is the box, and you're going to probably see it throughout the video there, but looks okay. Looks like artwork, kind of like a artwork version versus the actual toy, but you see the toy on the back. Yeah, so if you want to see the box, there it is. So the first thing I want to say about these guys is that they don't look much different side by side. Now, I thought there'd be a massive difference side by side because the off-white of the X, I thought that was going to be off-putting, and the super bright white of the original one would have looked better. And so with that, I was actually surprised how close they looked side by side. You kind of have to look for some details to see the difference, and we're going to look at those. But the other thing is, why even make a video talking about this and showing them? Because right now, these are both on the secondary market. You can't get them anywhere for original MSRP of $220 or $260, which was the regular almost $220, and the FT10X version was $260. Now these are running a standard one's like $300, and this guy's like $400, or somewhere in that ballpark. Prices are fluctuating all the time, but this is to help you get a more informed decision on which one you'd rather get, and is one worth maybe $100 more than the other. So we're going to get into this right now. So let's start at the top. So at the top, you're going to see that this is painted. The back part here is painted, and that is not. But we're not going to talk about that so much right now. We're going to talk about that more when we see the back. Also, the stripe is darker right here than it is right there. And so with that metallic look versus just a standard unpainted plastic on the red is a big difference, a big aesthetic difference. Moving down to the head, the only thing really different that I've noticed about the head is, well, there's two things. That the plastic that is used, either it's paint, really good paint that you can't tell is painted, or it's just like a fleck of plastic. You can see it kind of glistens. So it's got a slightly off-white look to it, and it's just flat over there, so a flat white on that side. And then moving down, you see the same differences of the plastic color versus the plastic color over there till you get to this stripe. Now the stripe is painted in the more metallic paint color, which I love metallic, so that's good for me. Seems like these air intakes and those little bits are all painted the same color. And it does seem like this is a darker shade of red right here in the translucent section. So looking at them side by side, not massive differences between the two. Having a look at the gun, I don't know if the camera is truly going to pick this up, but this gun does look like it has some metal flaking in it, and it's a lot shinier than this gun. I don't know if it shows that all the way, but yeah, they're slightly different. I mean, to me, it's not a big deal, but it does seem like this is a little bit more of a premium gun to it than the standard issue, but either one I'd be fine with. So looking at the hands, I actually thought the hands were exactly the same, but now with that light on it, I guess that's what my watt light is. This does have that off-white plastic color to it, whether it's paint. I'm still not certain if it's paint or just plastic, because it's probably just the plastic though. I mean, I just can't see them painting the whole figure. That would have been a lot of paint. But I'm still careful with them as if it's all painted. So moving down to the lower legs and feet, let's see if I can shine a little more light on all that. So this has sort of a glisten to it, like a metallic kind of glisten to it. And this just looks flat to me. I don't know how to explain it. It just looks regular. And this looks like a little bit more premium. This here appears to be the same color as this. and then the silver on the inside seems to be the same gunmetal kind of gray silver on that side. Now looking at the side view here, the first thing that I really want to talk about is what I thought would be a massive difference in these. And this versus this. Now that's got a shiny metallic coat, and I thought the whole figure of X was going to have this exact red. So when I was waiting for it to come in, I expected it all in that. I actually like this color a little bit better than that color. I just think this feels more right. So this is even though it's a red metallic, that's like a deep burgundy metallic, and it doesn't really fit the character, that color. And I thought this whole thing was going to be in that color. Turns out it's more of a deep red and not a burgundy. Now from the back, now you get to see more of this red versus the plastic, the painted versus the not painted, and you get to see, I think it's a pretty good shot where you can see the off-white versus the white. You could see the differences there, so that kind of looks more premium over here than that. And I have to admit, I'll admit, when I opened the Fanstoys FT10 Phoenix originally, I thought, man, the backpack looks cheap. But the overall figure looks so good, I didn't care. But let's look at this a little bit more. Okay, I do have the paper still on this, so nothing scratches. But I assure you the yellows are the same on the tips of the wings. And then going down, the plastic's the same of the cockpit. And then you going down even further, the buttons are the same metal. And then I got a 21 QC and a 33 QC. And you can see the feet. So really, that's where the differences lie. And I will tell you at the end which one I like the most. So the first comparison to these guys I want to show you is the original Jetfire. And yes, I guess I did find the yellowest Jetfire I have. I don't know why I keep pulling this one out. It's just the easiest to get to, I guess. But just size-wise, just where we went with technology from then to now. And Jetfire was one of the best Transformers. I know it was Robotech, but it was one of the best Transformers in the G1 line. And this thing just blows away. It just looks more like the screen. And I know that the screen wasn't supposed to look just like this one. This is Jetfire, not Skyfire, and all of that. But hey, nice comparison, right? Next up, I want to show a comparison of both of these guys versus Hasbro's version, the most recent one that Hasbro put out. And I want to say I'm very impressed with Hasbro's work here. And I don't know about you, but it looks like it's starting to yellow a little bit. Isn't that kind of crazy? But yeah, it's not as bright white as either one of these. It's got a little bit of a yellow tinge to it compared to those. And that's a challenge. That's not good. But Hasbro did a great job, and one thing, the downside to this one is I think that it's got excessive line work on it, which I don't like. Fanstoys has minimal line work and is a lot smoother looking. I like that look a whole lot more, but if I didn't have them standing next to a Fanstoys, this thing just looks great on its own. Next up, I want to compare them to Magic Square's version of Ultra Magnus, or what we call the white version of Magic Square's Prime, but he's really Ultra Magnus. But the thing about it is, I thought that the FT10X, that off-white coloring, was going to look close to this. And it turns out this thing is almost silver when you look at it, versus it's just a slightly off-white. So much surprised that it wasn't as dark as this Magic Square one, and I was using this as roll. Also, if you want to see how they scale next to pretty much any Optimus Prime that's out there in the Masterpiece, well, there it is. Next up is a comparison to the infamous Deck of Toys Chronos. He's not just famous, he's infamous. But he's got a lot of cheapness to him, a cheap feel. But I want to point out, this guy ruled the world as the best version of Jetfire for 4 years. So for 4 years, this was the best one you could get until Fanstoys came out. So that's kind of a situation right there where you got to give him some credit. He still looks good on his shelf. And if you don't have one, if you don't want to spend $300 or $400 on Phoenix, this guy's out there for under $200 sometimes. So you could pick him up. I mean, I don't recommend him over Fanstoys ever. But I do, if you're a collector on a budget, a baller on a budget, it might be a way to go. But don't transform this guy. Hope you enjoyed this comparison between these two. I am going to tell you which one I like more, and I do like the FT10X more. I know it's probably like $100 more, and is it worth $100 more? And that depends up to you. To me, it's worth it. And I think it's worth it just because it's got that premium look, that premium feel. And yes, I'm a cheap baller on a budget, but I do love the way that looks. I always felt like the red plastic was cheap on Fanstoys. I was surprised they went that route. I'm so used to Fanstoys having so much paint on them, and that really shocked me they didn't paint that. And I kind of expected to match the lower part of the legs. But yes, FT10X, I do like it more. But if you have the standard one and you don't want to spend all the extra money tracing down the X, then I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't go out of my way. I got it in a trade, so I didn't really have to spend any cash on it. But I did trade $400 worth of stuff for it. So that's how it goes. Hopefully this was helpful for you. Like, subscribe, so here, hang around.